Good afternoon, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitch and Yeti here once again, and today our adventures brings us to Hillsborough, North Carolina, and we're here today to see one of the first two NASCAR tracks that Bill France built for the NASCAR series way back in 1947. So today it is abandoned, but they have fixed it up a little bit, and they actually have walking trails that would take you back through the woods where the track's actually located, and we're going to give it a walk around. I think they have even some vintage race cars from that era to kind of give you an idea what the cars looked like way back then in 1947-48. So by all means, let's get to it. So right here at the parking area, this is the signage they have out front by the road. It's called Historic Occoneechee Speedway Trail. So I'm really looking forward to this. We're gonna go over there and look at see what kind of map they have for us, and see what other kind of places they have to investigate while we're here. Right here they have kind of a site map. Welcome you to the Historic Speedway area trail. And right here you are. So supposedly if we walk down this trail right here, this here should take us straight down to the old oval racetrack. And that's what we're going to do. They also have a little bit of history over here on the right you can read about when you're here, how it all come to be. Very interesting. So as we walk the trail, I must say it's a very nice trail. It's actually layered in sand, so it's very easy to walk on so far. Nice and cleared off, well maintained. And if you're asking yourself, I wonder why they call it the Occoneechee track or whatnot, but I'm going to tell you why. Because the Occoneechee was a Indian tribe that lived on the riverbanks here way back in the 17 and 1800s. So that's where the name come from. So as we were walking back through the trails, I looked up and I seen these vines just growing like very wildly all over the place. I used to love finding vines like this when I was a kid, because we would cut them and play Tarzan across the creeks. We would actually swing on vines like this. But I have never seen a vine with a trunk embedded into the ground as massively as this one. I mean, this is something to be seen. I mean, look at that. This has got to be the biggest vine I've ever seen in my life. Look how thick and how it just wraps around this whole tree. And I will give you a little bit of size comparison. That is my hand. Look how big that is. That is unbelievable. So as we walk back here toward the racetrack area, I thought I'd give you a little bit of backstory and history on the land here, and how Bill France kind of put a racetrack here, how he built a NASCAR track here. So there was a man by the name of Julian S. Carr who raced horses back in those days, and he was also a landowner. So he built like a half-mile horse racetrack, and it was back here, and Bill France had taken up flying. So he had this little like a prop plane or something. He was flying over the land here, and he looked down and he sees this oval racetrack of like a horse track, and he's seen all the extra land around it. And that's where he got the bright idea to get in contact with the landowner and turn it into pretty much a 1-mile racetrack for his up-and-coming NASCAR series he wanted to start. So a lot of people don't know this, but the NASCAR series, one of the reasons they put NASCAR together is because a lot of track owners and promoters back in the day, when they would have races, sometimes they would stiff the drivers on their winnings. So they wanted a governing body like NASCAR to make sure all the drivers got paid and kept the sport very healthy and even, and kind of just where they could govern everything and make sure people was getting paid when they would win. So good job, Bill France. So we must be getting closer to the track. We've been walking a little piece now, so we're down here at another map guide. So we started down here at the entry, and we made our way down here. You are here. So we're just going to stay straight, and then that will lead us into the what they call the Speedway Trace area. So right here we're going to start making our way down to the Speedway Trace, and they have these like very rusty looking walls down here in its gate. We're just going to walk where the arrow says right here to the left. I don't know what these walls used to be. I don't know if this was like a gated off area, or is this something they added later on but looks pretty cool nonetheless. So the first race here at the Speedway was August 7th, 1949, and it was won by Bob Flock. And the second race was won by Fireball Roberts, which I've heard of him before. I've heard my mom and my dad talk about him back in the day. Lee Petty is another big name that used to race here and win quite a few races. Buck Baker. Anybody ever heard of Buddy Baker? Well, Buck Baker, I guess, was his father. He used to run here. Curtis Turner, obviously Lee Petty's name. He's won here. Junior Johnson has won races here. Ned Jarrett won 2 races in a row here. So there's a lot of big names here. And the final race that they ran here at the Speedway before they closed it way back in 1968 was won by Richard Petty, the King. And that was actually run on September 15th, 1968. And he won it in a Plymouth. So if you didn't know, now you know. All right, friends, we have made it down to the Speedway area now. And I must say, this is just, if you like nature, this is beautiful. I'm gonna turn the camera around now and stop blabbing. And this right here in front of us should be the front straightaway. And I just kind of do a slow pan. Just look how beautiful the green is down through here. I mean, this is a very, very nice area if you like coming and just taking evening walks, or you want to visit. Definitely worth it already. I mean, this is just beautiful. Very lush looking. Very, very nice. As I look back at this turn right here, you can actually see how it's still got some banking, like the bank turn from all the dirt being pushed up that they would have been racing on. You can see that pretty well still to this day, even though they've not been a race run here since 1968. And then when you pan out here, you look how nature, my wife made a good point, look how nature had just taken over. I mean, back then, this was all clear. This was like the infield where they work on their race cars and, you know, they would meet up and everything. And this was, I've seen pictures of this place where it's just all field, and now look at it. But it's still beautiful, you know. This is such a peaceful area. It's so quiet back here. Got a little picnic table over here. Have you a little picnic. Yeah. This is good. So I'm gonna kind of give a quick walk up through here. I want to walk on these bank corners a little bit and see what's on the other side. Kind of investigate a little bit. What's over here? All right, that's that little river area. Yeah, that's nice. Got another little walking path right along the bank there too. But this would be it. This is the banking. Not too bad. Probably about 13 degrees of banking or something like that. So I was on the internet looking at some of the past winners, and they have like the pole times for the race and the purses. And it was really strange how, or at least on Wikipedia where they had all that information documented, the track length back then, they said it was a 1 mile track, 1.0. But then a few years later, all of a sudden they took it to 0.9. I don't know what changed. And if you have any idea what the difference was, why it went from a 1.0 to a 0.9, which ain't a huge difference, only a 1/10 of a mile, right? But I was just curious why in the record book it was listed like that. I wonder what changed to take a 1/10 off of it, or did they just get better at measurement? I don't know. But it was pretty interesting because a lot of the pole times were still pretty quick for those days. I mean, it was like they was running, pole times was anywhere from 87, 88 miles an hour. And I seen one, I think it was around 91 or 92 miles per hour in that time period. So that's pretty impressive. It's such a pretty spot. So right now I made it over to the back straightaway area here at the Speedway, and have you a nice little bench right here. It is almost a mile around this place, so for some people you might get a little tired, just want to get off your feet for a second. Voila, right there's your bench. You're good to go. So I found me another bench, And look at this view. You can sit here and just kind of look down at the water. Very peaceful. They have a few benches. Every so often you see them just kind of, this one here's a little bit off the track. The track surface being down here, you had it was kind of hidden almost a little bit from me. I almost missed it with my sunglasses on, but my wife's got eagle eyes. She ain't got no shades on, so she was able to point it out for me. I just wanted to document that, let you see that. And I think we are starting to enter. We're about to enter, I guess, what would be turn 3. That is the straightaway, the back stretch that we just walked down. Just look at that nature out there. I bet there's a few copperheads around this place too. Let's be honest. I have been eyeballing everything that moves, but so far the only thing I've really seen is just a friendly little frog. One thing I want to add while we're walking around the track here is so many of these old racetracks from the NASCAR heydays, so many of them get lost and, you know, get torn up. People build stuff on top of them, factories and things of that nature. I think the old Metrolina Speedway comes to mind down close to Charlotte. It would have been really cool if they could have preserved that racetrack, but unfortunately it didn't make it. But this one here back in 2002 was actually added to the National Register of Historic Places, if I can talk. And so this place is protected, so that's why you have these trails to this very day to enjoy. So at this time we're coming out of turn 4, and this must be the front straightaway as it really opens up. And I think I see the flag stand not too far away. So now I have made it over here to the front straightaway of the racetrack. As you see this beautiful little like green meadow we have right here behind us. That is so nice. But look, it's a flag stand. And it's on the inside of the racetrack. Like, this is the racing surface right here where my wife is standing. And then the flagman would set up there. Most of the time at these racetracks, the flagman would be over here where the bleachers are. But at this racetrack, it was different. He actually was right here on the flag stand on the inside of the racetrack, where normally a pit road or something like that would have been. Now maybe this green area here they still have cleared out. Maybe this is where most of the pits and stuff used to be. Some of the videos and pictures I've seen of this place, there was a lot of cars right in there, so that makes sense. But how wild is that? And then right down here, just below us, we have a vintage race car, which we are going to look at. But first, we have to walk these steps and go up in these grandstands, because these steps right here are telling us to. So I made it. I'm standing on these bleachers. Just think of back in history, all the people that used to be here, filling these grandstands up, cheering on these race car drivers, these old bootleggers, if you will, retired moonshiners. That's what NASCAR was about, man. I mean, this is awesome. And to this day, it's still here. I'm so happy that they added this place to the National Register of Historic Places back on May 2nd, 2002, and protected this racetrack. And how great is it for this community to have a cool place to come with a lot of history, cool things to look at while you get some exercise, get out in the outdoors, you know, stretch your legs, have a good time. This is what it's about. And there's my wife. She's sitting up here just like they did way back in the 60s and 50s and 40s. Reminiscing what it would be like to watch a race here. We're just here investigating though. And next, we're gonna walk right over here to these concession areas and see what we can see. Let's go. So here we are up here at the top of the grandstand area. Still have a Pepsi Cola sign. I've seen quite a few Pepsi Colas. We can actually walk inside here. Imagine all the fans come up. May I help you, ma'am?
I'd like to have a Coca-Cola.
We don't sell Coke. This is North Carolina. We sell Pepsi products. We learned that from our Newbern video. If you've not seen that video, the birthplace of Pepsi Cola, we'll put that link in the description below and go check that out. But I will get you a Pepsi or a Mountain Dew, something like that. So yeah, this is pretty cool in here. Look at this. I got it graveled up. Yeah, this is cool. I like it. We have some steps back here in the back. But we'll go look at that. Check this out too. And they got some benches up here. This would, I guess this area up here is where maybe the owners would sit, right? I don't know if they had all that going on back then. It's just good old boys. They probably didn't have like suites and stuff. But you got a bench up here. You can sit right here and just imagine it. These trees wasn't here, so we gotta imagine it though. There's the regular grandstand. The cars zinging down through here at 100 miles an hour. Over 100 miles an hour. To have an average of 90 some miles an hour, you'd have to be well over 100 going in that turn before you let off and skid it through the dirt. And right down there is one of the vintage race cars they have along the walking trail to give us an idea. So I'm really looking forward to checking that out. So if you can see right here through the woods, that's the concessions that we were just at. You can actually walk up this trail like my wife just did very smartly. And this right here is obviously the outhouse. They got the sign right here, it tells you so. And some more Pepsi logo on the side of this building. Because if you drink a lot of Pepsi, and well, probably back then they was drinking other forms of drink, adult beverages. And this is the outhouse you would come use during the races. So right here is the ticket office. And they have some cool signage up here at the gate that you would actually walk in. It says Orange Speedway, which was, I guess, what they called it back in those days. Hillsborough, 100 miles, Grand National Racing. Check that out. Look at the purse. $4,600. Late models only. It's got the years with cars you can run. Sunday, September 25th. And there's Bill France's name on the bottom of it. That is some history right there, my friends. So here they have another timeline of history area. I think it's pretty cool. Kind of give you an idea of what happened here. Kind of skim across it. A lot of information if you ever come here. And here's all the drivers throughout the years that raced here. And then when you look down at the race results, Fonty Flock won the first 3 races here. But look at the first place purses compared to today. Just think about that for a minute. Wrap your head around that. Yeah. And then the attendance, the first time, look at that, 17,500 people crammed in here, and the next year only had 88. Then it went back up. And then just kind of stayed in the mid, you know, that 6,000-7,000 range, probably averaged out. Well, this has been quite the adventure today, I must say. And it's all about the payoff, because we're going to go down and check out the vintage race car. That's what I'm really looking forward to. And looking inside, kind of see what the innards look like of the race car from that era. And I know it's in rough shape and it's all rusted, but that makes me like it even more. So now I have made my way back down the steps from the grandstands. We're going to investigate the car, but I did want to show you something I didn't show you a few minutes ago, and I'm really sorry about it. But down here at the flag stand, we have another Pepsi Cola logo. And it actually has the date on it, 1948 to 1968. Thought that was kind of neat. So Orange Speedway, Occoneechee, Orange Speedway. That's kind of cool. All right, This is what I've been waiting for, man. I gotta go down here and check out this car. Let's do this. And we have made it. Here's the old vintage race car. Look at that ram on the side of it. And that's the way it was back then. Look at that old seat. Wasn't nothing fancy in that thing. Still got the roll cage. Tons of pine needles. Sitting here looking at the front of it. Looks like they just took the lights out and put a plate over it. And be like your hood pins. Anybody knows what kind of car this is, put in the comment section down below. I don't know a whole lot about these older generation cars. Number 72 was on the side of it. You can barely make out a little bit of a name. VRM, but it's so faded I really don't know, and I ain't going about to guess. Check that out. Look, that's what it feels like when you just grab a hold of history. Oh, back then they had the toggle switches too. Check that out. That's pretty cool. Boy, that is some bent up stuff, man. That is what you call rubbing as racing. So that was really cool checking out that vintage race car. We have one more car down here on the left that we can look at. Maybe from a little bit older time period by the looks of it. Let's go look at it. So this one here actually has a name on it, Herbert Cates, number 44. Kind of give you an idea, look at that. Bottom end of that thing is rusted out. That was a special deluxe. Got a hitch on it. Pull that thing around. Here's where the motor used to sit. I don't know how well you can see that, fellas and ladies. Yeah, that's pretty rad. I like this one too. Yeah. And here we have a view of the back end of the car. Alright friends, that will pretty much do it for us today. This was such a cool outing to come here to look at this old abandoned racetrack, and now it's been turned into a walking trail. I think that is just so cool. So if you're ever in the area, in the Hillsborough area, or it's really close to Durham, North Carolina, and Raleigh, North Carolina also. So definitely come by and take a look at it. Come out here, walk the trails, come look at some of this history from yesteryear. Or if not, you can just come hang out with me. I'll show you whatever you want to see. Whatever I see, you will see. So, that being said, I'm the Hitchhiking Yeti. And I will see you, friends, in the next video. And by the way, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe. If you like today's content, give it a big old thumbs up. Until next time, I will see you, gang, in the next video.